What happens when the old-school, ruthless, championship-winning mentality of Roger Federer's inner circle collides head-on with the modern PR-driven marketing machine of the Women's Tennis Association? You get tears, controversy, and a victory that silenced every single doubter. Alexandra Eala just played a grueling, nearly 3.5-hour marathon battle against Laura Siegemund. She lost an opening set that lasted over 1 hour and 20 minutes, squandered for set points, saved herself from the brink, and stormed back to win the match. And then after the final point, she broke down in tears. But the story doesn't stop at the court. A prominent figure from Roger Federer's coaching camp publicly called out the WTA for what happened next. Buckle up, because this gets deep. Welcome back to the channel, tennis fans. If you enjoy this kind of deep dive content, hit that like button, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you never miss an upload. Let's start with who Alexandra Eala actually is, because she is not your average up-and-comer. Alexandra Eala is a Filipina prodigy, born January 23, 2005. She is a generational talent for the Philippines and all of Southeast Asia. Every single time she steps on a tennis court, she carries the weight of an entire nation on her shoulders. She trained at the Rafa Nadal Academy in Manacor, Spain. Forged in the same clay court crucible that shaped Rafael Nadal, one of the greatest competitors in sports history. At that academy, she was mentored under a philosophy built on relentless physicality, mental resilience, and never-give-up grit. Her junior career proved she belonged at the highest level. In 2022, she won the US Open girls singles title, and she didn't drop a single set the entire tournament. You don't win a junior Grand Slam without dropping a set by being nice. You win it by having a killer instinct. Beyond that title, she accumulated multiple ITF titles and earned WTA main draw wildcards at a remarkably young age. On court, Eala is a left-handed player with a heavy, topspin-loaded forehand that pushes opponents deep behind the baseline. Her game is built on grit, endurance, and tactical brilliance. Combining the defensive abilities of an adult protege with emerging offensive weapons, her rise on the WTA Tour has been nothing short of meteoric. In her own words from the post-match interview, she said, "Ranked 140 in the world a year ago. Now I'm in the top 30. She also added, "I'm doing a good job of keeping that balance of being hungry, staying happy, and still working hard." She is currently one of the fastest rising players in women's tennis. Now, let's talk about the match itself. Eala faced Laura Siegemund, an experienced German veteran known for her crafty, unorthodox style. Eala herself called Siegemund an amazing fighter. Siegemund is the kind of opponent who thrives on disrupting rhythm, and she is a nightmare matchup for young players who haven't logged thousands of hours on the professional tour. The first set was an absolute war of attrition. It lasted over 1 hour and 20 minutes, a punishing slugfest where both players refused to yield. Extended rallies, deep baseline exchanges, and Siegemund's experience and awkward shot-making kept constant pressure on Eala. Then came the most painful stretch of the match. Eala earned 4 set points, 4 separate chances to close out the first set, and each one slipped away. Siegemund's veteran savvy was on full display through clutch serving and tactical read. Eala ultimately dropped the opener despite being the better player for long stretches. This is the psychological danger zone in tennis. Young players often collapse after losing a set they should have won. Losing an 80-plus minute opening set drains a player physically and mentally. This is where the defining moment of the match and the entire story unfolds. It takes a lot of resilience when you've lost an opening set that lasted longer than an hour and 20 minutes to not get weighed down. Eala had targeted physical improvement as a specific goal during the offseason. After the match, she explained it herself. "One of my goals last year after this tournament was to improve physically, and here I am fresh as a flower." She laughed after saying that, a humanizing moment that revealed just how aware she is of her own journey. In the second set, Eala made tactical adjustments. She stepped inside the baseline, took the ball earlier, and reduced Siegemund's time to execute her crafty game plan. She increased aggression on the forehand side and flattened out her shots. Her improved fitness began to tell as the match wore on. She looked fresher, moved better, while Siegemund began to slow under the toll of the first set marathon. Eala's Rafa Nadal Academy conditioning became her greatest weapon. She leveled the match by winning the second set, and the momentum completely shifted. Her body language transformed from frustrated to fierce, from tentative to dominant. In the third set, Eala took total command. Siegemund was physically fading and Eala sensed blood in the water. Her forehand became a weapon of destruction. Heavy topspin pushing Siegemund deeper and deeper behind the baseline. She converted crucial breakpoints, delivered clutch first serves, and hit aggressive returns. Siegemund's resistance finally crumbled. On match point, Eala closed it out and erupted in raw, unfiltered emotion. The tears came immediately, tears of relief, exhaustion, pride, and validation after nearly 3.5 hours of battle. Why do these tears matter? They represent months of physical training, the pressure of a nation, the frustration of those 4 squandered set points, and the loneliness of professional tennis. Eala put it into words herself. "It means the world to me. It says a lot about my progress and how I've developed as a player and as a person. She also referenced her journey directly. When I came into Miami last year as a wildcard, now I'm in the third round again. The tears were not weakness. They were the raw expression of a warrior who just survived a war. In the post-match interview, she described the experience as very demanding physically and mentally. But that was one of my goals last year after this tournament, to improve physically. And here I am, fresh as a flower. Commentators praised her performance, noting she was mentally so strong, physically going through it and coming out the other side. Now here is where things take a sharp turn. After this incredible warrior performance, the WTA put out a promotional spotlight on Eala. The headline and defining characteristic they chose to highlight was, "She lights up a room with her smile." On the surface, it seems like a harmless, nice compliment, but in context, it is a massive red flag. Eala just survived a 3.5-hour war, came back from the dead, and demonstrated elite-level physical conditioning and mental steel. And the WTA's takeaway is her smile. The contrast is jarring and insulting to her athletic achievements. Consider this thought experiment. Do we ever see promotional material for Carlos Alcaraz saying he has such lovely eyelashes? Do we see the ATP tweeting about Jannik Sinner really brightening up the locker room with his giggles? Of course not. Male athletes are marketed as beasts, gladiators, warriors. Their lethal power, unbreakable defense, and ruthless aggression are highlighted. Imagine the ATP at Nadal's breakout putting out a promo saying, "Rafa, he just lights up the locker room with his sweet grin." It is laughable. Nadal was marketed as a bull, a gladiator. His marketing reflected his tennis identity. When it comes to women, there is persistent pressure from boardrooms to make female athletes likable. They want them fierce on court, but the second the point ends, they want smiles, waves, and perfect polished ambassadorship. By reducing Eala's achievements to a smile, the WTA prioritized marketability over athletic dominance. They packaged a tiger and tried to sell her as a house cat. A prominent coaching voice from Roger Federer's inner circle reacted to this. This is a camp that values biomechanics, footwork, and the mental fortitude required to win 20 Grand Slams. These are people who don't care about PR, they care about winning. According to reports sweeping through the tennis community, the reaction from Federer's camp was volcanic. The message was clear and uncompromising. Stop softening these young players. The core argument was devastating. When you tell a 19-year-old grinding on the ITF-WTA transition that her value lies in her smile, you actively damage her competitive psychology. Tennis is brutal and lonely. You are on an island for 3 hours. If your forehand breaks down, your smile isn't going to save you against Iga Swiatek. If your second serve is weak, your radiant personality isn't going to stop Arnes Sabalenka from taking your head off with a return winner. To survive on the WTA Tour, Eala needs opponents to fear her. When players look across the net, they should not think, "What a sweet girl." They should think, "I am in for an absolute war today." By highlighting aesthetics and charm, the WTA strips away Eala's agency as a ruthless competitor. It does not take a nice smile to build a champion. This wasn't an attack on Eala. It was a defense of Eala, a veteran of the sport standing up and saying, "Respect this girl's grind. Respect her talent. Stop treating her like a model and start treating her like the lethal competitor she has bled to become." History proves why Federer's camp is sounding this alarm. Anna Kournikova had phenomenal talent and was a brilliant doubles player. Media and marketing machines pushed her looks so aggressively that her actual tennis was completely overshadowed. She became a brand first, an athlete second, and her singles career suffered. Eugenie Bouchard reached a Wimbledon final, an extraordinary achievement, but media demanded she become a full-time supermodel. The shift in narrative completely derailed her focus and confidence on court, and her career trajectory nosed. She never recaptured that form. Emma Raducanu pulled off what many consider the greatest miracle in modern tennis history, winning the 2021 US Open as a qualifier without dropping a set. What followed? Corporate sponsors descended, billboards for jewelry, high fashion, airlines. The narrative shifted from her flawless backhand to her brand. The pressure nearly broke her, and she struggled with injuries, form, and identity. The pattern is clear and devastating. Young female tennis player breaks through. The marketing machine descends, athletic identity gets diluted, and performance suffers. Federer's camp sees the warning signs with Eala and is sounding the alarm. Eala is entering the most dangerous transition in tennis, from elite junior to elite professional. This transition is a graveyard of broken dreams. Only a tiny fraction of junior Grand Slam champions ever cracked the WTA top 10. If the media feeds Eala the narrative that her commercial success is tied to charm and approachability, it is a trap. Technically, she needs to add 5 to 10 miles per hour to her first serve to compete with the power players. Her second serve win percentage must improve. She needs to flatten out her backhand when she has opportunities to dictate play and improve her net game to finish points at the net instead of grinding out 20-shot rallies from 10 feet behind the baseline. On hard courts and grass, she needs to become the aggressor, to dictate rather than react. The WTA is currently dominated by immense raw power from players like Sabalenka, Rybakina and Goff. Eala is not the tallest or biggest player on tour. She must rely on absolute technical perfection and tactical genius to compete. What the WTA should be highlighting is her footwork, her passing shots, her mental resilience when facing breakpoints, her court coverage, her warrior mentality, and her lethal left-handed forehand. When you praise a female athlete for her athletic mechanics, you empower her. When you praise her for her smile, you diminish her to an ornament. None of these improvements come from reading press clippings about a nice smile. They come from suffering in the gym, from crying in frustration after bad practice sessions, from the ugly, unglamorous side of professional sports that PR teams desperately try to hide. Eala has the potential to change the landscape of tennis in Asia forever. She is a trailblazer for the Philippines and Southeast Asia. Millions of young girls across the region look up to her. The tennis media, the WTA, and fans all need to demand better analysis, to celebrate footwork, passing shots, tactical decisions, and mental resilience, and to stop reducing female athletes to their appearance or charm. Serena Williams fought against reductive narratives her entire career. Maria Sharapova leaned into an ice-cold, unapproachable persona on court to reclaim her identity as a competitor. IGA Wiatek currently demands people talk about her tactical adjustments rather than off-court personality. Alex Eala is next in line to fight this battle. Let her smile when she holds up a trophy. Until then, let her be ruthless. She has the backing of the Rafa Nadal Academy, the raw talent, and the heart. The system around her needs to protect and empower the warrior, not market the sweetheart. Was the coach right to go completely off on the WTA for this PR move? Or is marketing just part of the modern game that young players have to accept? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Let's get a real debate going. If you appreciate deep dives into the real tactics, psychology, and business of tennis, hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications so you never miss an upload. Until next time, keep your eye on the ball and respect the grind. See you on the court.